So Peter, kind of like, what are the needs and priorities? What are you looking at? I mean, even though you don't have a Democratic primary, I mean, I'm still sure you guys are working and grinding to build the base necessary to level the playing field, so to speak, going into the general election. So what are the needs and priorities in a congressional district that you're looking to serve? And then kind of just, if you could talk a little bit about just the type of outreach, your support network, kind of what you guys have been doing there on the ground.
Hmm. Indeed. I think when we speak to people, being that it's a mixed district when it comes to Democrats, Republicans, unaffiliated,
Mm-hmm.
there's around 495,000 registered voters in our congressional district. When we talk to people, we talk to them about not so much, oh, I'm a Democrat, I'm a conservative, liberal, so
Right,
on. We talk about the values and issues that are important. Because at the end of the day, it is your congressperson, not your president, or maybe
right,
not even your senator, who's going to be concerned about the issues locally. I think a
right.
major thing for a lot of people, our district, fortunately, is it's a well-educated district. It's a couple of our counties have been in the top three for several years for when it comes to health outcomes. We have one of
Okay,
the healthiest congressional districts, if not the healthiest congressional district in New Jersey. But people are seeing that the money that they're putting into the system, as in when they pay taxes, they don't see a return on their investment. That's evidenced
mm,
by our crumbling roads, our infrastructure.
right,
According to the Star Ledger, which is the biggest state paper here in New Jersey, the Star Ledger reported late last year, that 4 of the 11 worst bridges are in our 7th congressional district. So we're paying our taxes, but we don't see a return on our investment. Um, Over the next 20 years, we're going to need $8 billion
okay,
worth of monies to build our water infrastructure, our drinking water infrastructure. Same thing with our wastewater. We're going to need over $30 billion to fix those things. And
okay,
our schools, everything has been outdated, and we need to build and bring the Garden State into the 21st century. So another issue that's linked with that is energy and environment. In our district here,
okay,
in a county called Hunterdon, which is a pretty rural county, they're planning to, or there was talks of a natural gas pipeline coming in from Pennsylvania into Hunterdon County.
okay,
And there's been strong opposition towards this. And the current incumbent, like I said earlier, people saw him as an environmentalist while he was in the state legislature, and his tone kind of, or definitely did change once he got to Congress. So fortunately, we got people to protest and stand up against the pipeline that was planned to be run, and there has been a delay till after the elections, coincidentally or conveniently. So, we've been in opposition vocally, we've been against it. My opponent, we'll see what he says. He's actually supported bills in Congress that make it easier to build these natural gas pipelines on public lands and in general. And he supported Keystone XL
interesting.
pipeline as well. So, this is the Garden State. Why do we need another natural gas pipeline, especially in the home of Thomas Edison? We were pioneers when it came to energy, and I believe we could be not just national leaders, but global leaders when it comes to green technologies. Right here in my congressional district, in fact, we have the largest solar panel integrator in all of the East Coast. So we have to invest more into that. We need to
Oh, wow.
invest.
Okay.
Yep. We need to invest in solar. We need to invest in geothermal. We need to invest in offshore wind. This is a state that has the capacity and the ability to do that, especially now that we're continually rebuilding after Superstorm Sandy. Where there's crisis, there's also opportunity to invest. So we need to invest in our infrastructure and bring ourselves into the 21st century and let the Garden State live up to its name and call it what it is, the Garden State. Also throughout our district, a lot of young people, they're leaving because jobs and opportunities again. If we could bring those clean energy jobs, if we could bring that entrepreneurial spirit back into the Garden State, maybe more young people will hang out and be around to bring those ideas. We are that generation that's going to answer the challenges of the 21st century. Like we were saying earlier, millennials get a bad rep, but hey, we're the ones who started the Occupy Wall Street movement. We're the ones who brought
Yep.
LGBT rights and gay marriage to the forefront in this nation. We created the Black Lives Matter movement. and it will be our.
Right.
We're right now at the front lines when it comes to climate change. We will have to be the ones to take a leadership role in this. We see what Tesla's done, and now that's open source information, and we have the ability. You just need a young kid who could go online, learn coding, and he could create his own Tesla on his own in his own garage. It's just there just needs to be a will, an opportunity, and a way, and we need to ensure that we can bring those jobs, that type of investment, that type of infrastructure to enable our generation to do that.
Great.
So yeah, a part of our outreach. Oh, sorry, I forgot the second part of your question. You were talking about outreach.
No, you're fine. You're fine. My questions are long. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No problem. With regards to outreach, we've been reaching out to all people all across the spectrum. We are not going to neglect no matter what party you're from. We're going to reach out to you. Let people know. My big thing is name recognition. My life has been about public service, but not political service necessarily. I've been a social worker, so this is kind of my first foot in the game. But we've been reaching out to organizations, progressives. We've tapped into that progressive base of people who have come out to support Bernie Sanders. And subsequently, we've done events here and there, especially in conservative areas. We knock on doors, we do the traditional route. We've been calling people who come out to vote consistently throughout primaries and general elections, no matter what party you're from. So, tapping into people. And like I said, once people hear our message and once they hear that we're about the issues, we're about the values, we're about the things that are important to people within our district, they say, hey, I like what you had to say, young man. I judged you first on your age, but you seem to know what you're talking about. So I think if we come across as we are informed and we're prepared to be leaders in our community, and we're about bringing people together, not dividing people as politicians have done in the past. I think that's a kind of nuanced approach that other people haven't really taken. People have always swung by, oh, I'm a Democrat, Republican, conservative, liberal, or so on and so forth. We talk about the issues, and I think that's been effective for us.
Okay, and I think that's a very good way to do things, right? Sometimes we get so stuck in I'm a Democrat or I'm a Republican or I'm a Libertarian or whatever other, I'm an American independent, whatever that is they have out in California. We get so stuck in these labels that we, disregard the fact that we are actually all members of the same community. There are many, people have different positions in life, different issues, but there are, like you just mentioned, energy concerns, drinking water safety, most definitely, as we've seen in Flint, as we've seen in so many other communities, drinking water issues and infrastructure, bridges, roads, those are things we all have in common. I'm in Georgia. I didn't say this earlier. I'm in Atlanta, Georgia, and I live on the border of a very wealthy neighborhood. And it is a shame to see how awful the roads are because I know their taxes are high. It's awful. We are dodging potholes as if I was in some other part. It's just those are issues. You're right. Those are issues that when you start talking to people about investing in the infrastructure and the bridge piece is so crucial. Bridges and road safety, things of that nature, that affects everyone across the board unless they have a private jet or helicopter that they're taking to work. But for most average people, so I think that's a great message too. Is finding the common ground, right? Because when you are an elected representative, you're not just representing those people who showed up for you at election time. It's great, and those are the people that we're really thankful to. You represent everyone in the jurisdiction, and I find your approach very refreshing. I'm very refreshing. Refreshing. It's not even a word, Noah. Refreshing.